Robert here with Snipe News, standing with Victor Lucas.
How's it
We're
going?
on the Electric Playground set here right now in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
And some of you may recognize Victor from the Electric Playground or also Reviews on the Run. Also, you do a lot of behind the scenes stuff with Greedy Productions, which a lot of people don't know about.
With Greedy Docs.
Yeah, Greedy
yeah,
Docs.
you know, we do a lot of that. It's one of my favorite things about the many opportunities that we have with this company. I love being able to, because we cover video games really kind of top to bottom on both shows, but we don't have a lot of time. You know, we have a 30-minute show that we have to make every day, and it boils down to about 22 minutes. So when you're thinking about documentaries, that gives us a lot more time to kind of sit in with people that are building all of this stuff. And I think game developers are the most incredible, talented, intelligent people that make any kind of media, and they have fascinating things to say. And it's very unexplored and very documented. And so when we've been given this opportunity to do some of this work, it's really thrilling.
And so we saw on the way in that you have quite an extensive video game collection. You don't throw anything out.
No.
You don't. And then also, your wife had mentioned that you collect the action figures.
I love toys. I mean, what's funny is that these shows that we get to do and all, the work that we get to do is really an extension of my passions from, growing up. I really haven't changed my. I like more things, and different things and more diverse things, but I loved Batman when I was 7 years old, and action figures were a big part of my life back then, and comic books and superhero movies and Star Wars, but I think my story is a common one, and I think that's why we have gotten this opportunity to make these shows like this, and then also get into a position where they're on every day. It's because there are millions and millions of people out there that love this stuff as much as I do, and as much as my whole team here does. Everybody here is a big fan of this stuff.
And so we have big fans. Everyone's very passionate. I noticed people get either drawn to the Xbox 360, and that's their console, and then also people are drawn to the PS3.
Yeah.
So I'm presuming you have both.
Yeah.
And your preference? Do you have a preference?
I like the hardware of the PlayStation 3 a little bit better. I think that it's got a, with the Blu-ray functionality and some of the stuff that you get kind of built in for free on the PlayStation 3, it's a pretty good deal, I think. But Xbox 360, as we all know, was really kind of the developer's first choice for development, because the PlayStation 3 in its launch days was really a difficult machine to develop for. So what has happened is this whole generation, the lead game when you have multi-platform releases generally happens to be the Xbox 360. So generally the games are a little bit sharper on the 360. And it's still a terrific machine. I can't forget about all of the Red Ring of Death. Yeah. I've had to experience that personally, and I know lots of people that have as well. Yeah. But Xbox Live is incredible, and Xbox Live Arcade is incredible. They're both great. You can't lose either way. But if I had, I think it's really the Blu-ray piece.
Yeah. And so what are you playing right now at home? Is not something you're reviewing, something that you actually find yourself going back to that's not work related.
Well, I just reviewed Rage, and I really, really like the game, and I'm still playing that game. So that's what's in my brain right now. But I digest and consume a ton of material throughout a year, and I do go back and play through and finish and get online with games that I really, really love and connect with. But generally what happens is I got to get on to the next week, because every week we make new programming, and every week new stuff comes out. So I'm either seeing new movies or playing new games all the time. Okay. But I carry around my 3DS. I'm playing Kirby Mass Attack, which is a DS game, which I love. It's fantastic. And I'm still packing around Star Fox 64 3D. Yeah. I'm playing on the iPhone. I'm playing Shadow Gun, which is a really cool Gears of War ripoff. That's $8. It's really impressive. Okay. And Jetpack Joyride. So I play games all the time. Yeah. It's like I equate it to how Aquaman has to be in the water every hour, or he drowns when he's on dry land. Yeah. I have to play a game almost every hour. Or I start going crazy.
You feel like you're in the loop.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
And so, you remember back when things had started, so was it Electric Playground or Reviews on the Run that got started first?
EP first.
EP
and
first.
Reviews was a segment in EP.
Okay, and so I'm wondering, what was the first game, do you remember, that you had to review and put on air?
Yeah, well, we shot stuff to kind of test out the format in 1996, I think. I think it was 96 when we were just kind of developing the program, and that actually ended up in air. But we started with Super Mario 64 and Tomb Raider, the very first Tomb Raider, and Crash Bandicoot, and then I think it was a soccer game in there. Okay. And so we started with some really big titles, and I actually conceived of Reviews on the Run as we were driving past a drive-in theater, and I thought it'd be cool if we sat there and had the game imagery projected fake projected onto the big screen behind us. And I thought, well, why don't we do that every week, and we'll just be in a different location all the time. We'll call it Reviews on the Run. But it was a hit. The segment really took off right away. People were talking about, at the time it was Tommy Talrico and myself hosting, and they were talking about our fights every week, And we had forums on our electplay.com website, and people would be, watching the show and laughing about it, and we'd get into some pretty good ones. And I kind of got the sense by 1999 that was going to be a successful format that we could actually expand on and build into a full show.
So now it's you and Scott. You guys have a similar rapport. You kind of get at each other. I don't want to say get at each other's throats, but
it's different. Scott's he has a different approach to this. He's a very articulate person. He's a writer. He's a man with a lot of tools in his toolbox. When it comes to vocabulary and his sort of approach to critiquing this stuff, and I love the challenge that he presents me. And I certainly have great memories of all the work that I did with Tommy as well. But I love the conversations that I have with Scott. They feel to me like a natural extension of where we're going with the programming, which is to open it up and to be a little more mature, because we aren't kids anymore, and I like that we aren't just trying to recreate something that we did 10 years ago. It's a different show, and I love that we have all of these other voices in there also contributing, really shrewd and interesting commentary on this stuff as well.
You guys get out, you're all over. You got correspondents contributing all the time.
That was the only way we could make it work. And well, listen, man. I mean, like, we're living in an age where we have iPhone and iOS games and downloadable games on Steam and PlayStation Network and Xbox Live Arcade. It's not just three machines. It's like cable suddenly came into the video game industry. You know how cable, became part of television, and then there were thousands of choices out there. It's kind of what has happened to video games. Ever since everything has gone online, there is so many different ways in to play games now.
Now, do you have a formula in your head when you're playing a game you go through to give you your rating, or is it just something that once you're done you're like, this is a 7.5?
I always know exactly how I feel about a game when I'm done with it, and I don't have time to finish every game before we just don't have time. I mean, some of these things are massive.
It's electric, it's daily, not monthly.
They're both daily. Well, even weekly we didn't have time. Like it's these things are enormous, and the goal of our show is to give our individual opinion of how it is to play this stuff. So we play this stuff and consume it as much as we possibly can before we go in front of the camera and talk about it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I appreciate you doing this, Victor.
My pleasure.
And I guess if there's something you could say to your fans, because there's a lot of them out there, now's your chance to say it to the camera.
Okay. I mean, what can I say other than I really, really appreciate you guys watching the shows and hitting us up on our websites and getting in touch with us on Facebook and Twitter. It's unbelievable. I certainly have never gotten used to the good fortune that I've had all the way along, and it's because people care about this stuff as much as we do. I'll tell you one thing, is we know that the people who watch our shows, they're smarter than we are, and we never forget that. And we really have a respect for them, and we really, we will never insult you guys. We really care about what we're putting out there, and we want to feel proud of it, and we want to feel like we do right by everybody that watches our stuff. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure.